Good morning, happy and blessed Sabbath to everybody. Today I just wanted to do my yearly video on Christmas or Christmas, whichever one it is. But I wanted to read a scripture from Galatians chapter 4. And once again, this message isn't necessarily for those who do not know or have not been exposed to the truth that Christmas and Easter are pagan holidays. But this is for those that know and have knowledge of but choose to ignore it. So in Galatians chapter 4, verse 8, it says, "Howbeit then, when you knew not God," and this is KJV, but sometimes what I'll do is I'll just change words like yea into you and lest into for fear that and things like that, just so it's a little bit easier to understand. But howbeit then, when you knew not God, you did service unto them which by nature are no gods. But now, after that you have known God, or rather are known of God, how turn you again to the weak and beggarly elements, whereunto you desire again to be in bondage? You observe days and months and times and years. And if you go to verse 3 above that, it said, "Even so we, when we were children, were in bondage under the elements of the world." And so what this is talking about is when you knew not God, in verse 8. So when you knew not God, you were obviously not a Christian, and you were in bondage under the elements of the world. And then, of course, in verse 8, it talks about the weak and beggarly elements, so it's tying those together. So we were, as non-Christians, we were in bondage under the weak and beggarly elements of this world. And for some reason, we turn again and we go back to this bondage. And we observe these days and months and times and years of the world. And so anyways, this is the Christmas message this year. And I would just implore those of you who ignore it, that people that should know better are still observing this pagan holiday, that you can't take Christ out of Christmas because he was never in Christmas. If you are acknowledging, celebrating, taking part in, turning a blind eye to this pagan holiday, I just fear for your souls. I know you think you're born again, you think you're doing God's will, you're out preaching the word, you're doing these things, but I fear for your soul, because God hates this. He hates this. God has done some terrible things to people for doing what you might think are very minor things. And God has never changed. He's the same God. From the very beginning, he's the same God. Anyways, God bless, and hope you're enjoying your Sabbath. Bye.